on sound. That's my coffee. Video is rolling too. All right. Hi, Shelly. My name is Travis. I'm with Dallas Fort Worth True Earthers. We're also here filming for Flatoberfest for Karen B, asking some people how they're liking it so far, even though the official event hasn't started yet. You know, getting used to what people are looking forward to, where they have come from. So I guess that's how I'll start. So give your name, where you're from, why you're here.
My name is Shelly, and I'm originally from Oklahoma, but I'm from Florida though. We came up from Florida yesterday with a group of us. Yeah, and and I'm here because we've been to every one of these events.
Have you? So you're a veteran.
Yeah, I've been to all the Flatoberfest so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you get to come to the Solar Return last year?
Yeah, we were there at that one too. Yeah.
David was here filming that one.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, this is a great time. It's just the fellowship is just amazing. The energy. Yeah.
So that's what you're looking for mostly, the fellowship, conversation.
Well, at this point, because we all know the true, nature of our realm. So at this point, it is about fellowship, because where else are you going to get with other people that are like-minded like you, and to be able to share the same ideas and not be made fun of or looked down upon or just whatever. Yeah, so this is, it's all, absolutely, it's about the love and the fellowship. Absolutely, the energy, all of it.
I'll say that whenever Shelly greeted me, it's my first time meeting her, she met me with a hug, and I love it.
This is a huggy group. You can't come in here with not hugging. Are you kidding? People want to shake your hand like, no, we're not about that.
Right. So you say you're here for the fellowship. Now, is that to say that whenever the speakers come on that you already know everything they're going to say, or are you really deep into the...
Let me tell you, there's always new speakers. Like this year, there's definitely 2 or 3 that I haven't seen, and I'm definitely going to be watching them. And of course, you cannot ever miss Mark Sargent's entry speech, because they're just great. So no, absolutely no. I definitely try to listen to, most everybody, but some of them you've heard a lot, some of it, but yeah. So you pick and choose, and then of course you want to be out fellowshipping with everybody too, so it's hard. But now that it's 3 days, which is really nice, because when we started it was only 1 day. And then it went to the 2 days, so now we got the 3 days, which really makes it nice for getting all that time in now.
And we also got a dining room. Karen B also got the dining room added on inside the event center, so we'll have a place for people to actually fellowship and get a little bit more of a private space to speak.
It's hard when you have the tables and the vendors all in the same place, and you got your speakers up on the stage, and everybody's trying to listen and then do this too. So yeah, this is going to be great this year. I'm so excited about the whole thing this year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And now, Shelly, so how long have you been a flat earther, or at least skeptical of what we have been told as the truth?
I guess going between 6 and 7 years as far as when it was introduced to me, but I've kind of been questioning things since the junior high, when science and math is like, huh? It just didn't make sense.
Not many people say that. Not many people take the time out to wonder, huh? Well, I'm glad, yeah.
A lot of it just didn't make sense. And of course, I grew up in a very Christian home, so and I remember as a little girl reading about the firmament in the Bible, but it was never talked about in church or in Sunday school, and it was just it was the firmament, but nobody's like, wow. So I always knew that it said there was a covering. I always just accepted it.
Right.
But it just wasn't ever. Then so when it was reintroduced to me again, when Flat Earth came about, it's like, it just made it. It didn't take long for it. I'm like, of course we're not moving. Of course we're not. I mean, it literally just all made sense, and it didn't take long for it to make sense. So I got it real fast.
I love that. Now, you have your foundations in the Bible and with the firmament, but was there any one piece of perhaps like scientific evidence or scientific proof that really pushed you over that edge that you could isolate? Anything like that?
I live in Florida.
Sure.
I live 2 miles from the beach. And when you go out there and you look at the beach and they tell you, you're like, no. I mean, the curvature, and then when you really think about it, you're like, well, how come it doesn't curve in that direction, in this direction? I can see curvature out there. You're like, really? Well, how come you don't see it right back here?
Right.
So those things, I mean, it just like, the logic was just like,
You learn to trust your senses, right?
Absolutely, you do. And it's like you're not moving. Do you feel it? It's just like, come on, people.
I don't feel the Earth spinning through space, but I definitely feel the love around. So, thank you so much for dropping by, Shelly. It was wonderful to meet you, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here.
Awesome.
Yes, keep it flat.
Keep it flat, guys. Thank you. All right, see you later. Yeah, so all right, so we have Dan here with Flat Earth Sub Genius. Now, are you a content creator?
Yeah, that's on the online YouTube.
So it's a Flat Earth Sub Genius on YouTube?
Yeah, Flat Earth Sub Genius Society on YouTube. Yeah.
Nice, okay.
Since 2013.
Wow, so you've been in it for a while then.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a lot of veterans here. Then I feel a little bit out of it because I've only been a flat earther, quote unquote, since like last year, maybe September or like maybe June. I had a conversation with one of my friends who is a flat earther, and he basically just told me straight face the Earth is flat. And I'd been listening to Crow 777 for a little bit, so he dropped a few bombs, but I totally disregarded them. Whenever my friend mentioned that, it smacked me in the face. I was like, wait, you really believe that? Okay. So it got me on my journey. So Dan, what brings you here? How did you hear about Flatoberfest? And what are you most excited for this event?
I've known Karen since 2015. But we'd never met before. This is my first event, first Flat Earth conference, first Flat Earth event. I wanted to meet everyone instead of being little people, invisible things in my phone. Now I get to meet everybody, and now I get to help out. Now the occult memetics gets to creep into things, and you get to spread the memes, and the memes get spread, and the best meme wins.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, I like spreading memes and creating memes, and you just plant the seeds, and you don't even really need to do the work, especially if you know how to do it. You don't even need to speak to even talk about it, and actually it can happen without you even talking about it on the higher levels, on the higher planes.
When you're saying memes, you're not meaning like just the little pictures. You're meaning like the subconscious transferring of information, of cultural subtext to help kind of make a social shift in people's subconscious mind.
Yeah, exactly. I read a book, Occult Memetics, and that really, I was like, I'm like, these people take this stuff way more seriously than I do. And I'm like, I was just creating memes and making memes, but reading the book Occult Memetics really helped kind of take the stress off myself, because I don't have to work as hard. Actually, that's probably another reason why I've really been in like an aimless, non-creative, non-motivated, non-inspired state, and that was another reason why I came here. Get myself motivated, get myself inspired, meet all these people. I work with Santos Bonacci in the Syncretism Society for the Syncretism Society, and David is an instructor for the Syncretism Society. Yeah, and so am I. And we just did a video earlier with Santos and with Daniel and. So we were doing a little Syncretism Society chat over on Santos's channel, Mr. Astrotheology.
Yes,
I was on that earlier live with David Weiss.
Well,
So
I have to say,
cross-pollinating.
for real. So Santos Bonacci was one of my ins, not just in flat Earth. I was just researching for 4 years prior to being a flat earther myself. Santos Bonacci and his raising of the chrism was actually one of the initial videos, one of the initial talks that ever got me into accepting anything more than just a materialistic world. Santos Bonacci was probably one of my biggest stepping stones into the world that we live in now.
Same here. I came across Santos's research in 2009. Oh yeah, I forgot. I came across Santos's work 2009-ish, and well, that's when he was still a heliocentrist. And so I pay attention to all these people like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Hawking when he was alive, if he was alive. These Rogan. Who's that guy I'm trying to think of though? Oh, Graham Hancock.
Sure.
And
Garden of the Gods.
ancient aliens type stuff. Oh, hidden civilization type stuff.
Right.
Tartaria type stuff. That's a big thing now. People get triggered on Tartaria stuff. But whatever. it's a giant mystery. I don't know.
We're all on the
I
search
like-
for truth.
I like people that admit that they don't know.
That's a big thing, yeah.
As long as I meet someone, I'm like, and they're like, no, I know. And I'm like, he does not know. I'm
Right.
like, it's just like, I don't know. So I'm not ashamed to admit that.
So my partner Clover, we've had a lot of conversations about this, and she has some issues with how people approach we both do, how people approach their belief systems whenever it comes to how they know things, what they know to be true. And you can either take your belief systems from things that people have told you, like the world is a globe, we're flying through space, and that can be how you perceive reality, or you can do it, you can learn what reality is through your own five senses. And we found, like, interacting with people, especially in just DFW and online, that sometimes whenever people have a paradigm shift, whenever people realize that what they have been taught was incorrect, they have this need to latch on to something else. So they have this replacement paradigm, let's say, this replacement truth that sometimes causes even more crystallization in their held belief system than what they previously held. Now, do you notice that whenever you're talking with people who are more or less truthers in the search of truth? Do you ever notice something like that?
Oh yeah, one of my favorite authors, Robert Anton Wilson, he suggested to constantly be revising, re-editing, and remodeling your model that you have, or whatever you constructed that makes yourself sleep better at night with the belief system, otherwise known as bullshit. Belief system and bullshit. BS. So everyone has their own BS that they're spewing at all times, and don't buy into your own BS. Don't really believe in anyone else's BS, and try not to spew too much BS, and less BS will be thrown your way.
Wow, I really appreciate that. That's something.
That's the first time that it came out that way, so that was a good one.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Like, that's a Robert Anton Wilson said something very similar, so I'm just taking it from him.
Does he have a book or anything that we should check out?
He's got like 33 books.
Interesting.
Around 33.
Sure.
I say it just to trigger people, but it's like 33, 35 books, 36 books, probably more. But he's my favorite American author.
Nice.
I have different international authors, but Robert Anton Wilson, he's the most. Besides Carlos Castaneda, he's another American author. Hunter S. Thompson,
Sure.
Gonzo Journalism,
Okay.
and how you take the story and you inject yourself into it, and then you become a part of the story. So then that's Gonzo Journalism. So now, like, look, this is all a story. Everyone has their own stories, and now we all get to cross-pollinate and collaborate our stories into better stories that we can tell other people.
Right.
And I'm
Kind
trying
of get the average of what everyone's experience is to pass on to future generations.
Yes.
That is awesome. Dude, thank you so much for sharing your story. Now, if you had to narrow it down to any specific moment in your life that really pushed you over the edge, now just regarding conspiracy and getting your first step towards the journey towards truth, what would you say that is? Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Well, I've always been interested in stars and the constellations, and I've seen UFOs since I've been a kid, and I'll prove it today to anyone that wants to see. As long as the sky is clear and there's no clouds, I can show anyone UFOs in the sky. I'm one of those people. And like, what's his name? Dr. Stephen Greer, who takes people out in the middle of deserts and show. Well, I could do that, but he's just getting paid to do it.
Sure.
So I got to hang out with him more, apparently. But I'll show Karen. I will. Ted. Mark, David, anyone that wants to see you, Travis. I'm going to show you some if you stay later till dark.
Absolutely, yeah.
Dude, now what are they? Unidentified flying objects. But that really got me interested in, like, but conspiratorial wise, that I was watching 9/11 happen in I was like 9th grade, and I made fun of it immediately. Like, it didn't scare me, and actually I ran to the window and pretended that a plane was coming in and hitting the school, and all the people, the girls were all freaking out, but my friends were all laughing, obviously. So I just don't like. I see it. I'm like, why should it? Like, why? Everyone's dying all over the world. Sorry. Like, it's not that. It's a Patrice O'Neill type of why? Like, I'm sad for it, but why? Why do I have to invest all my emotional energy into this when it's already invested in so many? It's okay. It's going to be all right. So you don't want to get too conspiratorial minded because you become paranoid. Right. And I say that from direct life experience. So just like, you don't know enough to worry. So relax a little bit more.
Whatever's going on out there, you'll be able to find pockets of pain and suffering anywhere you look in the world, but it's up to you to decide what to focus on and what to allow into your life. So I will say now, in regards to Flat Earth, what was the stepping stone? If you have any specific piece of information or proof, what put you over the edge, should we say, if there is an edge?
Well, I live next to the Great Lakes. And I've lived there my whole life, next to Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. I'm not even going to mention being obsessed with the stars and studying constellations and supposed physics models and none of that. I live next to the Great Lakes, next to Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. And I could see to Canada with my bare eyes. Not only that, well, that's an anomaly in itself. I shouldn't be able to see 60 miles to Canada. That's I'm not even bringing that up. But not only that, but the buildings are totally straight. So if there was actual geometrical physical curvature, the buildings would be tilted away from me.
But there's refraction and stuff.
Oh
and
my!
Those things.
Well, that's fine. But refraction exists on a flat plane.
Right. But the gravity doesn't bend the light.
see, when you start talking heliocentric jargon, it's a psychological, psychic, magical attack that most people can't handle. I just won't allow it to happen anymore. As soon as I see it, it doesn't even matter. It's black magic. That's another thing, is magic. And like, I've always been interested in magic. And like, is magic real? I actually wanted to be a magician.
Like a show magician, or like
a show magician. Yeah. Not only that, the very first guy I was wearing a photo or painting shirt by Powerland, and I was working at Duff's, and I got off a shift, and I talked to the magician at the bar. This magician was so good. I was able to be standing here. The bar is here. He somehow took my license. He had it on his side of the bar already. So and there was a separation in between us. So I was watching Hot Ones chicken wing show the other day with David Blaine, world famous magician.
No, David Blaine, yeah.
So I was talking with the magician at Duff's chicken wing joint in Buffalo, and so he noticed my shirt. He goes, "Photo or painting, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, photo painting." I go, "Which one is it?" And he's like, "Oh, photo." And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "It's a painting my buddy painted," and he superimposed it on a shirt. So now it's a shirt, and he got all flustered. And I'm like, "You're the magician here." And I'm like, "You took my wallet. You took my license out of my wallet earlier." And I'm like, "You're the first person that ever noticed my Flat Earth shirt." I go, "I'm not surprised that you're a black magician." And I'm like, "A black magician?" He goes, "Oh yes." He goes, I live in a world of illusions. I deal with illusions." I go, "Oh, do you?" I go, "Good. Well, let's have a conversation about the globe Earth and he starts like getting all red and sweaty.
Biggest illusion of them all.
Yes.
Turn the cards on him.
Dude. So on the magician that's fucked around with me earlier, and so now I'm fucking with but I'll bring it back to. So he starts like sweating and he gets all red. And I go, "See, you notice how you're sweating right now and your face is flushing with red?" I go, "You experience physiological symptoms of your cognitive dissonance that you're feeling right now about this topic that you've never gone into." And I'm like, so that was David Blaine. The interviewer goes, "Are there any magicians that really impress you?" David Blaine name dropped the magician that I was talking with.
Really?
Garrett Thomas.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? And I'm like, that was the first person that ever noticed my Flat Earth shirt.
Wow.
And so that was just connection with David Blaine live as I'm trying to relax. Like, my relaxation time is watching Hot Ones, David Blaine, eat some chicken wings, and be all cool and stuff like that.
So, something that magicians rely upon is the illusion, and that was a very obvious encroachment on the dissolution of his world of illusion.
Yes.
That's impressive.
So, yeah, that was magic. But the Great Lakes, the Great Lakes. What was it? Oh, well, I already see. If you know the science, well, plus there's no curvature.
Nothing that we can see.
I've driven from New York, like Shaq. I've driven from when I drive, looks flat. It feels flat, looks flat. Oh dear God, I thought that was a bear. And I'm like, it's just a large dog.
We're in bear country for sure.
Are we?
I don't know.
What was it? When I bought the P900, I zoom up on the moon. It comes in. When I zoom up on the stars, they all come in at the same focus, the same size. They're all about the same size.
How does that work whenever they're all different distances away from the Earth, and not even considering the inverse square law of light? That right there disproves any type of visual that we would get from any stars anywhere.
So the closest star would, let's say, 5 million light years away. That's it. I'm just making it up. I'm probably wrong. I would say I am wrong, actually. I'm wrong. 5 million light years away, there's a star out there. Okay, fine. I believe you. What about that star that's 100 million light years away or 500 million light years away? Why is it when I zoom on the 5 million one and the 100 million one that they're the exact same size? And it's like, there would be obvious discrepancies. Unbelievable. No, they all look exactly the same. No, but each star, when you zoom up on them with the P900, they're like individual snowflakes, where they all have their different shimmer and shape and size. So that blew me away when I was doing that live in 2015.
What you're doing wrong here is trusting your senses to make sense of reality.
Yeah.
So, good Lord. Well, Dan, all right, we've talked about quite a bit here, and I want to say thank you very much for sharing your story and sharing the things that make sense to you, because we need more of those testimonials of why we're here. As far as the actual event goes, what are you looking forward to? What is the reason why you're here, and what are you most looking forward to to get from Flatoberfest?
I get to meet David Weiss, get to meet Karen, get to meet Mark, get to meet Austin again. I already did Flat Earth activism with Austin in Buffalo on my channel, and I was gonna bring T-shirts of second Flat Earth comedian in modern existence. Second, because I wanted to make it ridiculous. Second ever Flat Earth comedian. Yeah, that's it. Second ever Flat Earth comedian. And I didn't get to bring my T-shirts down. My T-shirt guy fell through.
Oh, damn.
So I wanted to sell some T-shirts and do some branding. Sure. I don't even get to do that anymore. So now I'm just gonna be a charming presence, and that's literally that. Hey, I get to meet everyone and talk. Yep. I get to see the live concerts and look good in a suit. So that's good. I don't get to wear suits too often. So I'll wear a suit tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. You're gonna be all dressed up for it.
So I'll get
Why
some
not?
extra sleep.
Right.
I'm so tired.
Awesome.
And I'll keep safe and not be a drunkard and drink too much.
Right. Thank you so much for being a presence here, and a present, as we say. Absolutely. And I will say, last thing for anybody who is in this world, world of understanding, what would be the thing that you can see would be the most beneficial way to get people involved, engaged, and connected with others around them, others in a face-to-face way, so that not only can they bolster a local community, but also help with their own mental health of not feeling alone or feeling like a black sheep? Do you have any advice?
Reach out. Ask for help. Don't be ashamed of asking for help. Ask for help. Say whatever you want. Say what you need. Say what you want. Be clear and be concise about it. And you'll be surprised that people do come out and they will want to help you, and they will want to support you, and that's awesome. So that's a face-to-face, direct human experience contact. That's an important thing. Go out, go out there and actually just do the things you want to do. We don't have much time here, so we never know when it's going to be over. So just do whatever you want to do and get it out of the way. Even if you fail, who cares? You still did it. You can still say, "Hey, I did it. I failed. Whatever." And you can tell that story for the rest of your life. But yeah, so just go out and meet your heroes, and and meet your enemies too. If you're out there,
Make some friends. Make some friends out of them.
Make some friends. Make friends.
That's it.
Make friends.
Dan, thank you so much for being here, brother. We'll talk soon, okay?
Yep.
Thank you. Isn't that
God is
amazing?
good. God is
very
yeah.
good.
He's really into this stuff.
Is he really?
he really is into flat Earth.
He wants people to know the truth, right?
Exactly.
Yes,
And people are turning to the Creator. That's the exciting thing about it. It's not just an awakening, it's also a return.
Very much so.
Awakening and return. Like return to the old ways,
Yep.
the simple ways of the Creator made the earth. And he put us here and he gave us some laws for how it's supposed to run properly, and
Makes sense. It all makes
does.
sense.
It sure does, yeah.
So are we rolling, David? Yep. All right, cool. I'm Travis, once again, with Dallas-Fort Worth True Earthers. We're a part of a wonderful community in DFW. We are based around the idea that we might not know exactly how it all works, but we know that we're being lied to. We know that we haven't been told the truth. So DFW True Earthers, we're also rolling for Karen B for Flatoberfest here. We're here with Sylvia. She is the author and illustrator of 2 wonderful books we have here. Has a few companions as well. So if you'd like to, Sylvia, just tell us why you're here, what brought you to Flatoberfest, and how long you've been on this path.
Well, I've been on the path for about 5 years, but didn't do anything with it because I didn't find anybody around me who agreed with me, and so I thought, to keep my friends, I'll shut myself up for a bit. But I couldn't resist. The truth. And when I started learning, I thought this needs to be in book form for children to be able to read and understand. And I started writing this book, Where Do We Live? And it just came out in rhyme. So this is my Earth poem. So where am I supposed to be looking?
Do you have a camera right
okay.
there? That's going to be
Yeah.
the main one recording.
Okay. So this one, Where Do We Live? And I had that just in time for the conference last year.
Sure.
And this year, I thought I'd do one on the moon and how the phases work on a flat Earth. So that's this year's book.
Awesome.
And I have another one coming up, how the sun makes seasons.
Right.
So.
Well, thank you very much. I have to say, for all of this kind of information, sometimes we can get lost in the minutia and the science, and it's all very confusing for some people who might not be grounded in an understanding, and that makes it even harder for them to explain it to their children. Especially for me, I kind of took what school gave me as information as truth, and even if my parents had said something different, if they had taught me a different way, I wouldn't have been inclined to believe them because they didn't have any opportunity or any material that would have made it accessible to me as a child. So I do find this kind of material very beneficial. And now, what inspired you to start doing this?
I just like to make difficult things easy for people. Maybe it's because that's how I am. I want a difficult thing, I want to understand it, but I have to have it spelled out for me. And so if somebody can spell it out for me, it'll answer the question why, which I am really fond of asking. And I wanted to do that for kids. and adults too. So adults can enjoy the books too. So, and then I liked rhymes, so I just made little rhymes all the way through.
Would you? So you were, whenever you were a child, you were a big fan of that question, why then?
Oh yes, I annoyed my parents. They would always be wondering, where's Sylvia? Where's Sylvia? She's always into something, and so.
Figuring it all out,
Yes.
right?
I'm a
Awesome.
great big grown child now.
Yes, ma'am. No.
Yes.
Well, Sylvia, would you be willing to share us a small poem that you might have in the book? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but if you'd like to take a second to find one.
Well, this one is not totally small.
I know, they're pretty elaborate.
It's at the very end. This is what I wrote.
By all means.
Jesus, okay. The sun is rather speedy and the moon's an hour slower. Their paths begin to stagger and the moon to elevate. For as the moon is lagging, it is starting to get colder. The coldness makes it rise a bit, makes it levitate. The altitude is crucial for the sun to spark the glowing. The moon acts incandescent and the UV works it up. It sails along in orbit and every day is growing. The phases are the parts we see from down here looking up. 5 degrees it elevates, and full moon is the limit. Then it lowers down again. The phases are reversed. It's sinking and it's sinking, and the light we see is dimmer in our eyes' perspective as we watch from down on Earth. No one knows for certain if the moon's a solid object because it is translucent and no one has been there. We speculate and test it, repeat and never rest, yet we want to understand it, this ball up in the air.
Wow, that is incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. And now I see that they haven't been bound hard copy. Do you plan on continuing with that?
Someday, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have a little store on Etsy.
Okay.
It's called Scroll House, where I make these scrolls and sell them. This is a Bible timeline scroll.
Wow.
Story of the Bible, 6,000 years worth of history, writing from the Garden of Eden, starting with the garden and ending with the garden.
Very interesting. I actually had one of these whenever I was a kid. It was very elaborate, so it was put together. I'm not sure. There's one that I guess is the authority scroll for the timeline, the biblical timeline. You might know which one I'm talking about, but
No, but it sounds fascinating. I'd
It was-
like to see it.
it was something that I spent a lot of my childhood looking at. So thank you. I'm sure that people have in our group and DFW, they have a lot of kids in our group, and they need these kinds of things.
Schoolers seem to like this and the little books too.
Awesome. So now give us that store on Etsy so people know exactly where to find it.
Scroll House. It's a house where we make scrolls.
Okay.
It's my house.
So that's
Scroll House, all one word.
okay. CROLL.
ROLLH, capital HOUSE, all one word. Etsy likes one word.
Perfect. Okay. And now, how
yeah.
much do you sell these books for in the scroll?
The books are $10 each,
Okay.
and the scrolls, this particular scroll is 20, and I have a teacher's version that's 8 or 10 inches, depends how generous my printer happens to be that day, and it's for $30. And then I have a poster, 2 feet by 3 feet, and that's $40.
Gotcha.
So they're all really good prices, especially the way the prices are going up, and I haven't gone up.
Right.
So
Thank you very
want
much.
the word to get out there.
That's
I
integrity right there.
love for people to learn truth.
Yes, ma'am.
I love truth. Don't you love truth?
I do, absolutely.
Dinner.
Yes, ma'am. And now I will say thank you once again. Sylvia not only writes these books and all the content in them, but she also illustrates them. Beautiful, beautiful art that's very kid-friendly, very accessible. Lots of pictures, even photographs. Plenty of stuff to capture a child's mind and to keep them interested for hours. So once again, the Scroll House on Etsy. Thank you very much, Sylvia. Now I will say about Flatoberfest, what are you most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to a particular speaker tomorrow, Sean Griffin. I just heard about him, and he talks about Bible as far as I understand. So I'm eager to hear what he has to say and whether he's unveiling some things that we maybe need to know to correct misunderstandings about the Bible. And if he can do that, I'm excited about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Sylvia, once again. Yes, ma'am. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy the fest, okay? Yes, ma'am. Loading. Okay, it's rolling. Make the technology work faster, David. All right. Awesome, guys. Travis here with DFW True Earthers here filming Flatoberfest. We have the amazing Dave Weiss here. Thank you very much for being here, for being your presence with us. I wanted to give David here some in-person thanks because without him, DFW True Earthers would not exist. Just so he knows that we have 138 members now just in the DFW area alone, Dallas-Fort Worth, and it is almost solely due to the existence of his wonderful app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, Zodiac, and Clock app. And that friend finder function, just so you know, my girlfriend Clover created the group with the intention of getting a wonderful Flat Earth community going. Nice. Without those blue dots, I was in charge of recruiting, so without those blue dots, we would not be what we are today. I went through every single blue dot in the Metroplex, and I said, hey, we have this group growing. If you want to, join in. And within 6 months, we had 120 people, and we're still growing. So, nice. Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. You have to make sure everybody updates to the new platform. We're on a whole new Blue Dot platform.
Right.
And it's way better.
And that's something, I'm going to give a complaint here. Here's my complaint.
Uh-oh.
All of those messages I sent out, they're all gone. So now I have to do it again.
Yes.
Good
but you have
opportunity.
but the people that are on the old system aren't going to get new messages. So you have to.
Really?
Yeah. So you have a Telegram group or something.
Yes.
So, but they'll notice as soon as they check their app, they're going to notice that the friend finder doesn't work anymore.
Gotcha.
That means you have to change over.
Gotcha.
Because I've already shut it down. So once people shift over, we're doing video calls now.
Okay.
Group calls. It's phone calls. It does sends images, videos. Excuse me. Everything else. It's amazing.
I love the way it looks. It's a lot more of a messenger app than kind of like a just send an email kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask real quick, because we have an issue in the Flat Earth community, as you know, of infighting, of arguments, because you go off the out of the community and debate with actual like globe believers. You don't stay within the community, from what I know. You venture out. But within the community, I would like to ask, what do you think is important that we should be focusing on, or a way that we can bolster unity, bolster engagement, activity, further than just saying go on the Friend Finder app? How would you go about creating that kind of a community?
It's an interesting question. I say let people investigate whatever they want. Anybody, whatever they're into, let them do it. If you disagree with it, I would just ignore it. And if somebody does something that you completely disagree with, I say, okay, well, if I disagree with it, what do I actually think the opposite is, right? You don't know, you need the contrast to know if you find something you don't like, that means you like what's over here. Focus on over here. Don't, ignore the bad stuff and do the opposite if that's what you think is right. And then, let the truth find its way. It's pretty easy that way. So when you say there's a lot of conflict in the Flat Earth community, I hear of this conflict, I pay no attention to it. I really don't care about it.
So ignore the infighting and focus on your own path towards truth.
If somebody says something that is the opposite of what you believe on, focus on what you believe on, not on what they think. Sure. Focus, some of my best videos were from the trolls. They'll say something and I'll do the opposite. And it's a great form of inspiration, I guess.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Dave. I have one more question for Flatoberfest. It's already been a hit. We've had a huge crowd. And for the actual event tomorrow and Sunday, what are you most looking forward to? Is there any specific speaker, or what are you most looking forward to here? Not to put you on the spot, we got a lot of talent.
My two would be Marty Leeds and Austin Whitsitt.
Okay.
That's going to be interesting, and just hanging out with everybody.
Awesome. Yeah, that fellowship, there's nothing else like it. So just so you know, for an update for where we are, we've had 8 working on 9 meetups already since the beginning of the year.
Sweet.
Almost every meetup has at least 15 people. So we're bolstering community as we speak. So thank you once again,
Awesome.
Dave.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
All right,
God
man.
bless, man.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Cool. That is awesome. And now you wrote this.
Yes, I did. 15 years of research.
Wow.
My faith was like challenged
Sure.
years ago, and I said, "Is there a God? Does He exist?" And so what I did is I started in Genesis, worked my way forward, and just said, if we get rid of 2,500 years of what man has taught, of what man has basically lived off of us, through tithes and offerings and fleecing the flock, we get rid of what man says and we just go back to the written text. Is there anything that we can find that's pure and holy that sets itself apart as truth? And one of my theses was that there should be scientific evidence to support any idea of truth. In other words, God didn't just give a law and saying, "Oh, I want you to jump this high," or "I want you to, stand on your head just because I'm God and I want you to arbitrarily do it." My thesis was that if God is God, He's going to be righteous. Or if not, well, then He may not be righteous. He could be God and not be righteous. But if He gave us a good law, there should be evidence of that. So I looked at scientific validity of like the kashrut laws, that would be like the clean and unclean, the different things of like at what times you can have like intercourse, like not during menses, circumcision, and there was scientific validity for every single one of those instructions.
Interesting. Okay.
The idea that you have a day off, all of that.
The Sabbath,
So-
absolutely. That's something I definitely agree with. You should have at least one day where you can focus on God, focus on relaxing, and really falling back into where we came from. So just to start this off, once again, my name is Travis. I'm with DFW True Earthers. We're a local group in DFW, and we're also here filming. David and I were filming for Flatoberfest for Karen B, getting some people up here and getting their opinions on what they've experienced so far, and also their contributions to the Flat Earth community. And
Now, I will say, at this point, I'm not on the flat Earth side, so I'm the black sheep here.
that's okay too.
But I love truth, and I love being. What I love about this group is the search for truth. Everybody is so warm. Everyone is so friendly, and patriots. Patriots, God, Constitution. What gets better than that?
That's it. So now this is not a Flat Earth book, just so people know. It is called Yahweh Exists. And may you say where they can find this, your name, all your information?
Sure. My name is Jodelle Onstock. My book is on Amazon. I also have a website by the name title, which is the Tetragrammaton, Yahweh Exists, as well as Emmanuel Academic Publishing. So it can be found at either of those three places.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I know that a lot of people in our community in DFW, this is right down their alley. We have a lot of very in-depth researchers, should I say. I can think of a couple that whenever the opportunity arises, they are there ready to share everything that they know. So I know that they, with access to such a compendium of knowledge, they would very much appreciate and most likely get this book. I have a few people I'm going to recommend it to specifically.
Yeah, and I have an index, so like if you want to look at a particular topic, you can just simply look at the index and it will show you where everything is. I am about to come out with another book. Hopefully it'll be out by December, and that is on the suffering servant in Isaiah 53. And that presents brand new information, brand new evidence that has just really never been considered before, simply because we've been told one thing and we kind of go with it without reading what it actually says. And one of the things that it says will happen is that it'll kind of shock your socks off. And that's definitely what this does. And it's something that will bring unity to religion. No matter Christians, Jews, even Islam, there's an implication in there for Islam.
Wonderful.
So
That's something, especially in the Flat Earth community, that we need is unity. So that's one thing that I know you're not a part of necessarily. You've not yet been converted.
I haven't been converted
That's
yet.
okay. That's okay. If there was anything out there that we need, though, it's that unity. There's a lot of infighting. There's a lot of different ideas about what how everything works, all that kind of stuff. But I think a critical part of understanding those aspects of the nature of our reality does rely on understanding our history, understanding the law that is found within, both written, the one that God has given us in text form, and also the one that this is what I focus on as much as I can, is the law that is written on our hearts, because that's Ezekiel. So that the depth that we can find God, it goes within. Everything that's outside of that within place, it's helpful, but it's something that it's difficult for me personally to rely on. So it's all information to put in my back pocket, but then I always fall back on my communication with God, with my Creator. So
one of the things that I found, because what I find is that the U.S. Constitution is about 92% Torah Constitution, like the Law of Moses.
Really?
There's so much harmony, like separation of powers, balance of power. All of those ideas actually originate in the Torah. But the other thing that you find is the idea that you are held accountable. And that's what we see really lacking in society today. With America has delved into cronyism, and there are things in the Torah that actually help stave against it. For instance, a layperson would bring a penalty offering that would be a very low cost. But if I'm a representative of the people and I commit a crime, guess what? I bring a penalty offering that is like 5 to 6, 8 times more than what the average. So I am like really held accountable to any offense that I would do.
It sounds like the offering that you would bring would be in relation to how many people you would represent, perhaps.
It could be. It was more of the fact that like this crime was valued at maybe 4 times, so grievous you would pay 4 times the amount, or if it was worse, you might pay 8 times the amount. So it just depends on what the court judged was, the egregiousness of your crime.
Very interesting.
So, like taking bribes.
Oh, right. And I'm sure we could go down a whole different rabbit hole as far as the court systems nowadays and how it's related to that. But I do want to focus on your experience here.
Everyone has been just absolutely wonderful. I think I've met some new friends. I have a long-term friend, Sylvia Halbert, who's here. And she's here from Michigan, so I was able to meet with her and hang out. But yeah, met a lot of really, really nice people.
Awesome. And now, will you be here for the event tomorrow as well?
I don't know. So I am in town visiting my grandbabies. So you know how it goes with grandbabies. It's like you want to soak up every single moment.
Absolutely. That's what's important, family. This is a different kind of family, but absolutely.
Well, when you find people that you click with and you find your groove, it's like they become a second family.
That's it. Well, thank you very much for stopping by, Jodelle, and thank you for sharing your wonderful knowledge. This book is impressively sized, I will say that, and in the least. And I have a few people I'm going to recommend it to. I know it's right down their alley. And for the rest of the time that you are here, just enjoy yourself.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, you as well. All right, we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for hanging out.
I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
The more we get people just thinking critically.
Like locally with people, you get to have any local meetups. Where are you from again? South Carolina?
I'm in Charleston, yeah.
Charleston,
South Carolina.
I would think that in a more conservative state, I believe Carolina is more conservative, right?
Yeah.
I believe that they'd have some more people who are interested in kind of like getting together.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's hard to kind of organize in this time frame. I mean, there's so many different criteria and ways to get together, and getting and unifying and acting in unison is hard to do. And I think we've reached a saturation point where we have all of this intelligence, this resources, this wisdom spread across the realm. And now it's like, how do we act and how do we harness it?
Organize it
even just the basic organizational unit. So
yeah, we don't have any textbooks. We don't have any institutions that are designed to help us understand these things.
No mainstream sources. In fact, most mainstream sources have abandoned us, and in fact might recommend stuff that's not truly good for you. I can say this, that there is a sect of people that are in the mainstream that are good and they do want to further knowledge. It's just there's no support. They have people to feed, and the current machine in the system is, it's people have to eat, so it's hard to do that. I do think that it's at a point where we need to, at least act in unison at the most basic level. So I think there's a lot of people that are worthy to follow, and just the stuff that they're saying is really interesting too. So
that's what we have to do, is figure out who. I don't believe in authority. I believe in good ideas, and it's not about the people who the ideas came from. It's about understanding what those ideas truly are. So I guess I'll just introduce. My name is Travis. I'm with DFW, Dallas Fort Worth True Earthers. We're here interviewing Michael for Flatoberfest, trying to see why he's here and figure out what he's about. So Michael, thank you very much for being here with our camera crew today, and of a camera stand currently, and me. So first off, where are you from? How did you get here? As far as being introduced to Flatoberfest, and how long have you been a flat earther?
excellent, thanks Travis. I live in South Carolina. I live in Charleston. That's around like 200 miles south by the coast. I've been introduced to this flat earth movement for about a year now, and that equates to hundreds of hours of research to verify. I have my own P1000 camera thanks to that, verifying ships that are floating in the realm that shouldn't be floating, and I can track things way too far. Something doesn't add up. So at that moment, I researched meetups near me, and lo and behold, it's right here in Greenville. So I, of course, bought my ticket and was like, I need to go talk to people that are that know more than me and can share ideas and share wisdom. I've also been, thinking about where to move forward and like any solutions I can provide or we can provide as a group.
I really appreciate that, because there is so much infighting and so much discourse, people having different ideas and different theories about what's going on. And sometimes whenever you discover that things aren't as you were told, and people have a tendency to latch on to their ideas that they are then introduced that replace their previous paradigm, and in that process can be even more crystallized than before. And I feel that that's a very big contributing factor to all the infighting, to all the argumentation. So I will have this question. What do you think that the flat earth community as a whole needs, knowing that everybody comes from a different place, has arrived to somewhat similar conclusions, but maybe have a different way of going about seeing the world still? What do you think the flat earth community needs as a whole to really become cohesive, to unify, and to understand one another through action and through true, preferably face-to-face engagement?
Sure. Great question. I think that any sort of community asks and encounters this question, especially a grassroots movement, and especially a censored movement, and especially one that potentially has, enemies. So one method that I find, and this burgeoning technology is being used in the finance realm mostly, are the use of smart contracts. Smart contracts are a way to mathematically and 100% transparently pool resources without having the pesky, I'm just going to leave and run away with everybody's money problem. Not only that, the method that I'm talking about, a decentralized autonomous organization, a DAO, it provides governance as well. So this method allows for a truly mathematically proven, not a vote counted in the dark method. This is all publicly verifiable on a blockchain, using new methods that are been around for years, but allows people to vote and govern with transparency and with the smallest unit getting a vote proportioned to the resources that they've pooled. Now that allows for research and ideas and resources to get together in one place and act in unison. And this is very compelling for the flat earth community, because this is also unsanctionable. It will run as long as there is, participation and community involved. So that's the kind of the elevator pitch of it, but it goes a lot more into it.
I can imagine the participation and getting people involved is the hardest hurdle to get through. But once that kind of hurdle is met, then it will snowball from there, because people will start to see the inherent value. Now, you mentioned a DAO. I'm unfamiliar with that term. The only DAO that I know about is one that I would like to avoid in like the stock market. So does it have anything to do with that? Could you explain like what a DAO is and what you're doing, like mechanically speaking?
Sure. So a DAO is a acronym that stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Fancy word for a smart contract. Now, a smart contract is much better than a human-made contract because parties can violate that human-made contract that's on paper. A smart contract is run by ones and zeros and numbers. It won't violate its own codes. So this solves the problem of pooling resources and then having someone run away. Now, they're not 100% risk-free. It just avoids risk very well, and it allows for people to act in unison. But technically speaking, it is a smart contract that will hold the money for us, and then it will not act or do anything without a vote by the people that sent in the money, proportional to the amount that they put into the vault or the smart contract. Currently, there's smart contracts that hold billions and billions of dollars, and it's a smart contract. Nobody controls it. It's controlled by the community.
Now, I imagine that for all the large corporations and any big money that is transferred or is used for a specific purpose, that's what they would use due to the fact that it is a lot less likely to be broken. Would that be the case, that that's what is used in the more the larger fields of money transfer and usage?
Specifically, this would be for cryptocurrency. This is not... Even though DAOs are becoming a corporation form and a structure for a corporation, this is mostly just in the cryptocurrency realm. But they do hold billions and billions of dollars in cryptocurrency. Right. Now, crypto's not doing well, but it still has a value and it still has a purpose. But yes, mostly it's being used for a financial gain. And this would be one of the first, I think, that I can find. There's crowdsourcing resources, and another good analogy is just this is crowdsourcing on steroids with some built-in anti-censorability, if that's even a word. So.
Now, I want to ask, what is the main function of your project? What would be the main function that this crowdsourcing would perform?
Sure. The main function and the main purpose of this would be to advance the uncensored and unbiased exploration of the realm that we are all participating in existence for. Exploration in science, I even revile to say that word because it has been formed into a mockery today. And that's the main goal. If you have something or some wisdom to share, then this is the place for you. If you want to explore the world with the backing of an anonymous DAO, now you have to earn that right and there's roles and responsibilities, and true participation is needed, but participation is just sharing ideas and communicating and talking. So that's the main goal. Advance the true uncensored exploration of this realm that we're on, because we have been abandoned by mainstream science.
Agreed. Thank you so much for doing that. Honestly, I'm at the edge of my seat to see where this goes. I want to say that we have not at all institutionalized any of our understanding, any of the science that we understand with our senses. We're just trusting in colleges and high schools and the public education system to get the information that we base our understanding of reality on. So thank you very much for providing an alternative and building towards that alternative. How far in the future do you think you will go until you see a good amount of people participating in this? Do you have any type of time frame or any goals or checkpoints that you'd like to see upcoming in the future years?
Yeah, I mean, this has been a one-man band for a little bit, so my timeline right now is to gauge interest, and really this is the first I've ever even really talked about it, so gauging interest right now, I want to see how far we can take it. Once the DAO starts, it's really in control of the people who bought into it. So if you want to become the owner of the DAO, it's wide open. It's wide open. So again, it's open to the community, and the question is, how far does the community want to take it? Absolutely. And so right now, I am taking up for this particular smart contract. I want to gauge and just get a pre-sale and a pre-sign up right now, and just to get an email and an Ethereum address is all you need to get on the pre-sale, and you can be a founder in this DAO. And we're looking to launch in November. The smart contract's done. It could be earlier. It just depends on the sign up. If I have 5 people sign up, I might even launch it then. But there will be some communication involved and in the ramp up time then. But yeah, we're looking for a November launch.
Nice. And now to sign up, you say 5 people. Is that 5 people donating like $1, or is there any type of buy-in that people are required to get into the program itself? What is the entrance? How does the entrance look to get into this project?
Right now, there is no minimum donation for entrance. We're looking for any and all. That being said, your vote is proportional to the resources you've pooled. If you donate $1,000, you now get 1,000 governance tokens, basically, and that's your vote. You have 1,000 votes. Now, the person that voted $1, they get access to the research center, and you get to share your wisdom and heard. Now, there are going to be so many different tiers and roles and responsibilities as the community grows. Some people just want to donate and not research. That's totally fine. Some people want to donate a lot and research a lot and do all sorts of things, but that's going to be self-defined as well. Anything is up for grab in these votes. Are we doing something wrong? May the best ideas win. And I know for a fact, just even walking around and talking to the first 5 people I met here, everybody here is a free-thinking, very intelligent, philosophically smart, common sense thinker that trusts their own senses. So that being said, the other facet I want to talk about too is the different language communities across the world. Like, this allows us to act in unison with that as well. There's different translation softwares that we can get and work with and go with, but the other non-English speaking Flat Earth communities produce amazing content, and their ideas we need to learn. So, yeah.
Awesome. And now, whenever we talk about governance and democracy, a lot of us have seen what democracy has in the political world. How does that relate in your project? What does the governance really look like, and what does that mean when people vote for the project that you're creating? Whenever people put forward an idea, put forward a research field that they would like to have studied, how does that process work? What are people voting for?
So right now, again, this is all self-defining. Right now, the most basic research function we are voting on proposals that advance the exploration of our realm. So whether that is awareness, whether that is bringing on more people to the DAO, whether that's fundraising, whether that's sending somebody to take photos somewhere, or crowdsourcing our community, that's where it's at.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much for explaining all that, Michael. Now, I do have a couple questions. Just so you said you're a one-man band. First off, how long have you been in this realm of flat Earth research, of understanding a little bit more about our realm, and maybe your ramp up into the passion project that you're doing now?
Sure. Thanks for the question. I mean, I would say I'm fairly new. I had somebody in my circle of friends send me an email that was talking about Antarctica, and I had been suspicious of Antarctica for the very longest time. Why are people going there? Why can't I go there? And the flat Earth theory really ties it together. So I'm a relatively newcomer to this realm, but that I am a researcher by heart. I am I work in a field that requires a lot of just research in general. So I've spent hundreds of hours looking up topics, debating people of all sorts. I'm very open and will debate to anybody, in a kind, friendly manner. And so that's my ramp up into it, and there are still so many questions, but I think the evidence is very clear. Water is always flat. Water needs a container. There are so many questions and just talking points that the mainstream scientists cannot answer, and when they do answer, they are embarrassing themselves even more with the type of just logical fallacies that we encounter with them. So we can go deeper into that, but really I'm a newcomer to this, but I want to act in unison. I think also some of the I don't know. I spent 35 years living under the heliocentric model, loving space. I kind of have an axe to grind here. So that being said, I've been trained by some of the top mainstream universities in the world. It's time to flip that on them and use it to band together and create this community. And I mean, this isn't the only DAO. It shouldn't be the only DAO. I encourage everybody to make their own DAOs. There can be ally DAOs. There can be DAOs that specialize in a different community. So, and we can all link up together in a trustless environment. And that word trustless kind of sounds bad, but when you actually look at it, like, there's things that you shouldn't have trust in, and there's ways to get around it. As humans, we are prone to fail and go against these contracts, but in these trustless environments, it's run by code and voted on.
You don't have to put your trust and your ideas into another person, even though that's what we should do for our own individual lives. Whenever it's in a field that you might not know who you're working with, you just might know what they're wanting or what they've told you. So I really appreciate that methodology of how DAOs work. And thank you for sharing your own personal journey. I do appreciate that you have come from an educated background as far as the public education goes.
It means absolutely nothing. I wear it as a mark of shame, but I will say this: I was a rebellious, wild student, and from the beginning questioned authority from the start, and it turned out to not be too far from the truth. Now, I encourage you to look both ways before you cross the street and follow all common sense, right, common law, but in reality, it's time to use some of the tactics that are being used against us back at them. And who is them? Who knows? Let's find out together.
That's I'm actually going back to school now for business, and one of my main driving factors is learning how that world thinks, learning how that world speaks, and just like you said, being able to flip the script and being able to understand more or less the belly of the beast. So thank you once again, Michael, for sharing your passion project, for sharing your story. Absolutely wonderful to have you on.
Yeah,
awesome. Absolutely, yeah.
There's probably 1,000 communities like this right now. Like, and if we all linked up and had a shared message, like what this DAO allows us to do is to say we get like 20 people to sign up. Like, first things first, we've got to set up world-class like research facilities or collaboration sources, which I do for a living. I can set that up. And that's easy. So the message, it's really shared message board, and then from there, the best ideas bubble up, the best videos bubble up, the best content bubbles up. It is a chamber of just like concentrated, I call it a hyper research structure, and like a real life example of this that happened recently was called Constitution DAO. Look this up. Somebody was like, the Constitution was up for sale on auction. One of the few originals.
Okay.
There's like 6, like one of the original copies, okay? But it's like an original one. It's like $30 million. And so this guy from like Georgia was like, he made a DAO, and everybody crowdfunded it, and they raised $20 million on this smart contract, and they bid for the Constitution. They didn't win it because some billionaire outbid him, but not only did this guy rally, thousands and thousands of people that for very little amount, $20 was the average buy-in.
Sure.
The public almost bought. The goal was to, and then once they bought it, they would have voted what to do with it.
Right.
The largest, and these, like, there's forums where these questions talk about, and they're not real votes. People just say, hey, when we buy the Constitution, what do you think about making a public library with it? And then, because you can leverage the cost of the savings, somebody would give you a loan for, anyway, somebody would figure that out. Because money coming there, you'd be able to do it. Anyway. These forums,
a self-developing machine.
It's a self-defining
I love that.
and it's always, the rules are never set in stone. And like, the other cool thing is that these type of entities are really not around, but I've seen them do it in the finance world. Like, they are
the shared wisdom is very powerful. Like I've met people that are just like introverts, wouldn't be able to talk in public, you know, or get out in the streets and do it. My goodness, their ideas are amazing. They're like, yeah, that's a plasma orb, and it's like because of these gossamer, like, and it's just like there needs to be the system and the collaboration system, the research tools. That's what comes with the DAO, and we'll be able to implement that and go with that quickly. But yeah. Even just 100 people would already blow my expectations away. But and the thing is, come as you are, leave. At this moment, like the tokens are transferable, which again we might want to change that. Again, I would invite. The first thing I would need is like invite people that also know DAOs and a little programming to help me harden it, because it's just me. Or maybe we just hire a third-party developer for $1,000, stuff like that, and then boom, you have it's just self-building, self-improving. But yeah, like one of the I just think that like in the future, I think DAOs will be more powerful than political parties. I think that there'll be political DAO avatars that are like, this is the avatar of, I don't know, just to say Donald Trump's avatar, Ghost, Ghost, and then it's run by a DAO, and like, listen, like when a proposal gets like, the idea is gonna have to be good for it to even make the proposal. Like, and then once the proposal's initiated on, a lot of it's just gonna be fund transferred to this entity that everybody gets to see. That's the beauty of the blockchain. Everybody can see that this smart contract is sending funds there, and the smart contracts are a bunch of gobbledygook, XYZ, AZW, and that's also anonymous donation. You don't want anybody to know that you've donated or were part of this. It's all anonymous, completely as anonymous as you possibly can be.
But now, whenever you do it anonymously, you still get a vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll get these governance tokens, which are just like owning anonymous tokens, and you'll be able to log into the public. I think that the world will be able to even log on and see some of the main blockchain. The world, the enemies will be able to like vote, but it'll just be like hidden proposals.
Right.
But there are places. This is where it gets really cool. Have you heard of the concept of an NFT?
Yeah, I have.
Super stupid to do it as artwork, but the concept is really cool. An NFT, I can mint NFTs and think of this as a key. Only I can create this key. You store it on your phone in a wallet, on an anonymous wallet that I can just hand out keys, and these keys will give you access to certain parts of the research center. Wow. It's so messed up. Like, say you are like proven that you can be trusted with, like, you know, just the community's going to decide. You know, the first person that signs up is literally going to be the first right-hand man of mine, or whatever you want to call it. Help me, I need help. It's an insane DAO. I currently have like, I think $50 on the DAO. Oh no, I have 15 governance tokens. But like, if somebody comes in and throws down 1,000, they're now the most powerful vote. Now, that's the part where I need to, there is going to be some sign-up point where it's like, I do have to be the trusted conduit before it fully is like handed off to the DAO. Because right now, I own all the governance tokens. I do. But that's the thing.
Like the transition.
All DAOs have started this way. All DAOs have started this way. There's never been a DAO that can just start like, I don't know, we might. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna, in the email list, I am going to, compile, and then we're gonna send out, just people's interests. So just gauge it from there, and then by November I should have so many more details narrowed down. Which again, this is all self-defining, and we can change it at the drop of the hat. I propose a vote, and the code changes. So
is it DAOs or DAOs?
DAO.
DAO.
Like
okay.
DAO, Tao, DAO. It's like a very Zen word. DAO.
So decentralized,
autonomous organizations. And
dude,
like,
I love that. I'm gonna do some.
Again, you got that, but it's earthresearch.net is what takes it to like the landing page, and right now it's just like a landing page with a bunch of flat Earth videos, and talks about, here's the thing too, like, say you don't even believe in the flat Earth, but you're an explorer at heart, and like you can earn rewards, and there's things called bounties, like people that use these types of systems, they're hacker enclaves, they're very scrappy, and like they have bounties.
Sure.
First bounty should be like $500,000 if anybody can get to Antarctica and prove to me that they're in Antarctica, and then post that to the world. I mean, it's a place to do that.
Wow.
And it's completely, don't trust me. I will literally, do trust me for beginning. I'm willing to put my name out there. I'm independently, don't need to worry about, I wouldn't take money or do anything like that, but
once the numbers get really high, it's mathematically proven you cannot take it. No one can take it. It's like everybody having the nuclear key. That's what's really cool.
I don't know. It's like where to begin, right?
Well, here, let me hand you this mic.
All right.
Yeah, I got a question that I thought of. Like, what inspired you to make the magazine? Is this your magazine?
Yeah.
What inspired you to do that?
Well, so Weird Stuff was designed as a tool to lay out on your coffee table, and it's set up in a magazine format, so it's full of lovely color pictures and all the different ways that you could, look at these puzzles that we have before us, but, looking quite innocuous, and it's all my own photography and art. So just to kind of draw your friends in. So I've been doing this since before the World Wide Web. I started before I was on Access Television back with the Alex Jones at Austin, and then Google came out and we all got put on the world stage instead of just this small television stage, and everything just transformed to this massive World Wide Web. So you can imagine when I began, the opinions were few, and now here we are at Flatoberfest, and the opinions are many and driven, and it's really amazing to watch the fascination open as these mysteries start to unfold. Because people say conspiracy theory, and they say there are no conspiracy theories, and obviously there's conspiracy theories all over, Committee of 300. But there's mystery. And that's what they really mean when they say there's no conspiracy theories. They mean there's no mystery left in the world and there's nothing really going on anywhere. But there is everywhere we look. What is CERN doing, right? Why do nations pay billions into finding the God particle? Or, why do we have antennas that transmit the day the Earth stood still to Alpha Centauri? The world's just this mysterious place where human cloning, when we talk about the dangers of vaccines being made and gain of function, and they just casually mention the human-mice hybrids, it's like, but wait, you just said human-mice hybrids, let's back up before we get to the rest of this story. Our planet is crazy and amazing and fascinating, and that's what I'm all about. Exploring the mysterious, getting the magicians on, getting the people talking about the secret societies without feeling, that they're in opposition. I'm open to all these understandings. And
so what year did you start doing this? Before the World Wide Web, when did that start?
2005 is technically, I had started in 2004, but 2005, by then I had the Freeman Perspective together, and I started this television show. And it happened to fall right after Alex Jones's InfoWars on Access. He'd already been doing it 10 years, but I came in 2005 and I laid this new stage. And it affected everything. Alex started interviewing David Icke and Michael Tsarian and Leo Zagami. That was all my fault, right? Because my show just happened to follow his. So it started there, and then I had a friend that understood video. Everything I've learned is I've become obsolete immediately, but he was secretly putting my TV shows up on Google Video. I had no idea it was a worldwide phenomenon, and I didn't know, so I built freemantv.com, and it's been going, 17 years now.
Was that Shaq or what
Shag? Shag.
Okay,
yeah.
You would be in there with the stills, or whether you hold it right there, Shag.
Yes. The TV show was, me running in with half my library and stuff that I wanted to put on the table, having to set up this whole studio, and you have to. Nobody can make the green screen work. I was the only one. Even the technicians didn't know how to. There was like this infinite knob. You just keep turning until it suddenly worked. It was. But you'd have to go in there and set up this whole studio and do all of that, and you had to have a TV camera. And there's Shag, who was just a volunteer who called into my show at one moment, and he would just be there to hit the buttons at the right time. And most of the time I'd get the video work done 5 minutes before airtime, so I'm running in trying to get it all set up. And when you see me sitting down, I've just been running around for like an hour setting it all up, and then go, Shag, just do it right, because he's never seen it, I've never seen it. Everything I presented on TV, I was seeing it for the first time too.
And that would be like on VHS or something? You hand them a VHS?
Magnetic tape, the digital film.
Oh, okay.
So the big old tapes, and so yeah, you had to have these $30,000 cameras to do any of this back then. And linear editing, I mean, my God, as soon as I learned linear editing, everything went non-linear. But if you made a mistake in linear editing, that meant you started all over. There was no just kind of going back.
So from back in the day, probably starting this in a very lonely state, not having a community like we do now.
Yeah.
Comparing that part of your journey to now where you're surrounded by people who share maybe not the same exact take on things, but at least that quest, that thirst for truth, for knowledge. How does that make you feel from then to now?
I am adored here, right? I mean, the number of people that are super fans of Freeman here is just beyond it, and I see it now, like the seed that I planted that opened the minds that allowed that to happen. And it's amazing, because percentage-wise, there's way too many Freeman fans here. You know what I mean? Like, this is crazy, and it's really cool. But I go back to 2008 when I was revealing Anna Nicole as a mind control agent, and I was talking with.
I was trying to remember.
Yeah.
Britney Spears. I was trying
Yeah.
to remember.
So all that was happening. Brittany was shaving her head, and Anna Nicole's body was in a court case in the Bahamas, and it was all happening live, and I was seeing the reality of it. And I decided, when I was first asked, do you want to have a TV show? I'm like, do I really want to put my face behind my words? You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't something I chose to do. It was an offer, and I said, you know what, this would be really cool. Let me do it. So I didn't seek this, right? So just to be clear, so by the time I was doing mind control with active court cases that were happening, I mean, it was on television at that time. It was frightening, and I would go to all my conspiracy friends, and they're like, oh, you're blowing this up out of the water, you're taking this too far. But it was all true, the Epstein thing, everything came out, all of this story. And, so there was this time where no one had an opinion on any of this, just thought, oh, don't worry about it. And now the opinions are so bountiful that there was almost a war between the flat earthers and the non-flat earthers. The opinions have gotten so strong and volatile at times that it's a whole different world now than when no one really knew anything, and we were all having to read books to figure this all out. Now you can sit and go listen to whoever's YouTube and get an opinion on something, but the source material is kind of left out, a lot of words about words and things going on, so it's really different now with everyone having an opinion on everything.
It's awesome, right?
Yeah, it's great and dangerous. It depends on how fanatical you get about your ideals, you know what I mean? We got to be able to have differing opinions or we'll never get along as a society.
One thing I did appreciate about all the speakers is everyone had a very different take on the nature of reality or like what matters.
Yeah.
So it gives you a good opinion. If you had to go up there and do a presentation yourself, what would you have done? Maybe you could think of anything off the top of your head.
For me, it's currently the aliens from hell theory, and Aliens from Hell would be my last and greatest magnum opus that I produced. I say it's the greatest PowerPoint ever created, and anyone that was there live would agree. But the focus I've been on is this concept of CERN, ultra-low frequency antenna array like HARP, ISCAT, SURA, the ionospheric heaters all around the globe. Like, why were everybody paying into CERN? Why is it at highest levels right now? What happened at the Norway Spiral when that opened up and CERN was at its highest peak and ISCAT was beaming Doritos commercials to Ursa Major? And Obama was getting his Nobel Peace Prize on that day, just happened to be in Norway at the day of Norway Spiral. So this whole concept of mind transfer technologies coupled with the grid of CERN, the concepts of ultra-low frequency, sending all this information. They sent the day the Earth stood still. They simulcast it from the theater to Alpha Centauri. It took it 4 years with the Keanu Reeves version, So if you're sending a message to an extraterrestrial race, most likely the closest inhabited star system to ours, and you're going to send them the day the Earth stood still, the movie that says humans are so bad that you need to send a nano monster over here unless we can figure out Klaatu Barada Nikto and just destroy life. Anyway, so that's the movie they sent. It took 4 years to get there simulcast. It arrived December 21st, 2012. So that's when the Alpha Centaurians were watching Keanu Reeves in The Day the Earth Stood Still. So I find this the fascinating part of where we're at, along with the cloning and the chimera that are made through CRISPR technologies, and this whole transhumanist movement into this next realm. And then at the same time, what's being taken out of our realm? Where are we missing the true essence of humanity by being deflected by all this technology? And
I like how Jason Lindgren, he said yesterday, we need less tech, more dirt.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm very much in line with that.
Yeah. When I was at Occupy and I was at a mall, I had a school bus in 2012. I wanted to prove to everybody that you could be free if you wanted to. So I took a 2-ton vehicle around their 20-ton vehicle around the United States without a job. Right? It got 2 miles to the dollar. But I ended up at every Occupy, and the question was, you've been here for months now, right? To the people there. Yeah, well, how many inner city gardens have you built? How many times have you gone into the community and tried to find food and set it up? And, you're just sitting out here having a beef about opinions. Again, this is called an ultra-crepidarian. And I've witnessed this in evolution in school, where it was conditioned into the students through all this social engineering that your opinion is what mattered, not the fact, right? And this is technically called an ultra-crepidarian. And it's a real symptom of what's going on in the battle of opinions. And it's been gendered into the children through school, because I watched it happen, by saying, if you don't know the answer, at least give us your opinion. And that was good enough. And as soon as you're basing everything on opinions and not facts, you end up with Joe Biden as president. I mean, all right. So there you are. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Hey, I was also telling Travis here about. Did you know that they put? I think there's a reference to you in the South Park fractured butthole game. It has a place called Freeman's Tacos. And
there is a Freeman fan on the South Park staff, so I wouldn't be surprised. I didn't know. But yeah, when there that big transition on South Park where they went totally conspiracy, and yeah, I think I influenced that. I really, yeah.
Well, didn't you sell tacos at like Rainbow?
Well, yeah, definitely. I can't say. I won't admit or deny.
It's a rumor. Can I get a T-shirt?
Absolutely.
How much are they?
Oh, whatever. You can just have it. I think I only have mediums left.
Which one would you say out of your magazines, which would be the best one?
It's hard, because they do each have our own flavor. But number one, what else can you do, right? Because it was really not known that there would be a 2 and a 3, but it was hoped.
Well, I'll grab one of the magazines. I'll grab a T-shirt.
All right.
I'll take a medium. I mean, I'll just put on my wall or something.
I know. So unless you can see if there's something else, I can't.